I'm really working hard to get my finances together, get my money management together. Going into my career, prior to that, I was broke, y'all. I mean, like, making about maybe $900 a month broke. So when I got my first check as an RN, and I saw 4 numbers before the decimal, listen, I was excited. I saw, what is this? So, I mean, basically, when I graduated, my income quadrupled. And I was super excited. Paying all my bills, buying groceries, paying for extracurricular activities, and still having money left over. Oh, I was over the moon excited. I thought, oh wow, now I can do all the things I've been missing out on. What I didn't think about though was having security for, hey, this is great, but what if something happens? That's the knowledge I didn't have. I knew how to make a budget. I knew how to follow a budget. But after I graduated, I learned how to blow money fast. I learned how to blow money fast. And it was simply, I felt so deprived. Even as far back as, in childhood, there were things I wanted that I had never got to have. Vacations I wanted to take that I didn't get to go on. And so as an adult, I felt so frustrated with feeling like I had severe FOMO, okay? I mean, I was missing out. It wasn't a fear. I really was missing out. But if I had learned a lot of the principles and things I know now about saving an emergency fund and things, like when I was younger, when I started my job, I knew that I should save money. Like, that seems like, of course you should save. Like, who doesn't know that you should save money, right? But not everybody has the skill, the knowledge, or the discipline to actually save money or to know the best way to do it. For me, the hang up was I'd always say, save money. But later, when I started in the last few years, like learning these different things of, okay, this is how you be intentional with what you're saving. Have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund that's 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses, and making sure you're taking care of your 4 walls, rent, utilities, transportation, food. Like, that is what you need to be thinking about when you make your emergency fund, and then having sinking funds. So it is saving, but a sinking fund for, let's say, for example, your car insurance. If you want to pay 6 months and save those few dollars instead of paying monthly all the time, and you want to do a lump sum 6 month, you can be saving throughout the year for that versus attempting to pay for 6 months of car insurance on 1 month's salary. Saving throughout the year, having that sinking fund. Or if you want to go on vacation, having a sinking fund. You are saving, but just the different words you can use to better explain. For me, that's how my brain better understands having those words. Like, oh, this is my savings, and then I have a sinking fund for these things. Like, what do we have coming around the corner? Christmas. So your holiday shopping throughout the year. Have a sinking fund to save money for that shopping, and not be like, oh, it's December and I'm about to rack up, debt on all these credit cards to buy presents for my kids. Like, don't do that, because that doesn't help your family with anything. But I've experienced, making those mistakes. And a problem I had was I was so busy beating myself up for making mistakes with money, like acknowledging that, hey, I wasn't raised knowing how to manage money in a healthy way that's gonna secure, stability for me and my children's future. That's not something I actually learned anywhere. I had to read books, listen to podcasts, and do all this research, which I'm happy doing research, but there just wasn't, I didn't really have a solid foundation for managing money going into my adult life. Nobody ever sat me down and really taught me how to do that. And there's a lot of us like that out there, and it is no shade to any of our parents. People, as parents, as people, we can only teach and share what we know. And when we decide to go and seek out, that's all we can do. And so, but yeah, I have decided to seek out additional knowledge and information to help me be better with managing my money, because I want to see a different outcome. Even right now, recent times, frustrated with myself with the decisions I've made, like within the last couple of years. We've had lots of unexpected things come up the past year, and I can't help but just go back and think in the last like 2 to 4 years, decisions that I could have made differently that would put us in a different financial situation right now. Now I look back and beat myself up, get upset. Oh, Vanessa, like, why did you do that way? And why did you finance that car? You knew you should have been saving up to pay cash for a car. And why did you do this? And why did you do that? And like, oh, why didn't you pay that debt off when you had the income to, you could have enjoyed life and still paid that debt off. Like, you had enough income to do that. Why didn't you do that at that time? So many things like that, and having an emergency fund. I've never gone beyond having that starter emergency fund of $1,000. And when you actually have an emergency, when you lose income, which that was, I'll tell you in short, that was something that's happened the last couple of years. I found myself in very unexpected situations where my money keeps getting decreased. And when you have lost income and you only got $1,000 saved up, that money is gone really quick. When you only got $1,000 saved, you got 2 kids to take care of, and you have a decrease in income, $1,000 takes you nowhere. So yeah. But I beat myself up about the decisions I made, like not making different decisions, not saving more when I had the opportunity, not paying off debt faster when I had the opportunity, not paying cash for a car when I had the opportunity. I had a vehicle get repossessed at the beginning of 2024, y'all. Let me tell you how bad that felt. I could not believe and I surrendered the car. It wasn't like, oh, they hunted me down and grabbed my car. That's what you see on TV. No, it was me being a grown-up and saying, you know what? I cannot afford these car payments. It was me calling the bank and saying, hey, instead of y'all calling me every week and asking when I'm going to make this car payment, let me just be honest with you and myself and say, you know what? I cannot keep up with this. I can make that car payment this month, but you know what? Next month, I will again be struggling, figuring out like, oh, okay, how can I pay my rent, utilities, buy things for my kids and all these things, and pay this car payment, keep gas in the car, pay the car insurance, take care of the maintenance, and pay this $500 car payment. And I always said that was like not wise to get a car payment that's over $300. Like, I always said anything beyond like $300 is already a lot, but $500 a month for a car payment, I always thought that was absolutely insane. And then there I was agreeing to do it. So I found myself in situations similar to that of knowing better and just choosing not to do better because I just want something. You ever just want something and you shouldn't get it? Like, you can get it, but this is not the right time for that. Like the vehicle I had, I loved it, so happy. I loved I had bought me a 2020 Equinox. This was in the fall of 22 after I had a car that I owned for 9 years. So, hey, big grown-up stuff. Had that car for 9 years. Gets totaled. I'm in this rental car for a couple weeks. Loving the rental, loving the updates. I've been in the process of, I wanted to just add some things to my 09 Kia Optima to upgrade it. But when I got in the rental car that it's already souped up with all the bells and whistles, y'all, I said, I can't go back to that old car. When they asked if I wanted to surrender my total vehicle or take $1,000 less in settlement and just keep it, I thought, nah, y'all can take that car. I'm going to take this $3,500 settlement, and that's a down payment for something with all these bells and whistles this rental car got. because I need this in my life. It felt so nice. And it was an SUV. Well, it was a compact SUV. I think that's a weird term to describe a car, but it did set up high. So I guess that's how it got to be called an SUV. But the point is, yeah, I like sitting up high, and it had the Bluetooth and all the things that my little '09 Kia Optima was missing. And so I thought, I cannot let this go. I have to have this. And that's a personal problem I know I deal with. I'm in my car recording this. I'm gonna make another video with the book, but I'm reading Rachel Cruz's book, Know Yourself, Know Your Money. And if anyone who is not familiar with her, she is Dave Ramsey's daughter, and they are different people. Okay, so I know there's some people, I would say, I find that people kind of have a love-hate relationship with him. You love Dave, or you think he's a terrible person and you don't listen to him. Whatever, your opinion, do what you want. But I can say that man's got wisdom that really helped me. But the interesting thing, yeah, I had a time where I listened to him a lot, but then there were people that were a part of his team or guests on his show that I then went to listening to them more. I connected with them more. So I appreciate me going to Dave Ramsey first, attempting to follow the baby steps, never doing great at it, but because I do listen to his daughter. I don't listen to Dave anymore, but I do listen to Rachel Cruz. And I would say also, as a mother, I can connect more with her as a woman, as a mother. And then there's lots of other people. But anyways, I'm reading Rachel Cruz's book, Know Yourself, Know Your Money, right now. I'm only maybe a fourth of the way into the book, but it is phenomenal so far, because the point of this book is breaking down, just understanding your childhood experience with money, and just knowing, like, why do you deal with money the way you do. I just finished a chapter about fears around money, and that was great. There's one particular fear that I've touched on, but that's the one that really gets me the most. That it's the fear of past mistakes. Oh, I got to make my video with the book in my hand, because I can't remember off the top of my head how she words it. But one of the fears is just saying that you fear that because of the mistakes you've made in the past, that like you can't do better. And that's not verbatim what it was, but it was something to that effect. You've made mistakes in the past, and you fear that you can't get good with money because of your past mistakes. And that's where I usually am, y'all. But what I've come to discover is that fear is the very thing that does stop me from doing better, because I had that fear. Because I'm like, okay, Vanessa, that was a really stupid decision, and you're never going to get out of this. You're never going to pay this debt off. The funny thing, y'all, I'll tell you, I'm going to be very candid. I haven't calculated in the past couple of months, but top of my head, based on my last calculation, I've got about $26,000 in debt. Now, the stories I read, y'all, and when I listen to on my podcast, people are in way deeper debt than that. And when I read their stories, it does make me go, okay, girl, your situation is actually not that bad. It feels bad just because the debt exists. But $26,000 is actually not that much debt. I mean, it's debt. I need to pay it off. But I'm talking about people who say, yeah, we have $500,000 in, student loans and credit cards. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness. Like, how do you even rack up that much debt? I feel like my pushing $30,000 in debt, that feels astronomical to me. But people that are like literally pushing $1 million worth of debt, like, my mind is blown. But then they say, oh, paid it off in 3 years. And I'm like, why am I struggling with this? Before and most of this debt was racked up in the past 2 years. Before that, y'all, I had about $5,000 in debt from a personal loan I took out because had a big car emergency that I wasn't prepared for. And actually, I just borrowed the money because that's what I got approved for. I actually only needed $2,000, but they said, you got approved for $5,000. I said, sure, I'll take it. I'll take it. Because I just wanted to have that money. That was a mistake I made a few years ago. I am not my mistakes. And that's the lesson here today, y'all. You are not your mistakes. We are not our mistakes. Okay, I'm gonna take these shades off. You are not your mistakes. Your mistakes do not define you. Yes, they're a part of you. Yes, they're a part of your journey. Those mistakes are how you learn and grow. Well, they can be how you learn and grow. But if you just fester on the fact that you made a mistake, and I don't talk about anything that I haven't been through. Okay? So I know a lot about just ruminating on, oh, I made this poor decision, and thinking that I'm a terrible person because of the decision, versus saying, wow, I really messed up, and how can I do better? Like, I do that, but it takes me some time with some situations, y'all, for me to get to the point where I can say, wow, I really messed up. That was a horrible decision. How do I not do that again? Okay, here we go. Because what I tend to do is, that was a terrible decision. I never want to do that again. That's never going to happen again. Oh, I can't believe I did that. Man, if I would have made this decision instead of that one, then this is what would be happening now, and then that. I get caught up in what ifs. What if, instead of making that bad decision, I did this? Which, again, that can be okay. That can be a healthy part of the process of acknowledging that, hey, if instead of me financing this $30,000 car and having a over $500 car payment, what if I had taken back my old raggedy car, taken a lesser settlement, and then just made a decision to save for 3 to 6 months and pay cash for a vehicle? Because my total car is actually still drivable, it just looks terrible. Okay. So next time I'm in that situation, I'll do better. And right now I can start saving. Really, we should always be saving for a new car or major car repairs, because we know cars break down. Like, we know that none of these cars were built to last a lifetime. We are fully aware of that. You know, it'd be nice if somebody built a car that could last a lifetime. So, car maker, somebody, put that in the works. But anyways, for real, that's a way to look back and say, okay, I messed up and this is how I can do better. But we can't be hung up on the fact that you messed up. You can acknowledge it, give yourself some space to acknowledge it, and maybe be a little sad and upset, but then you got to move on, because you can't be upset all the time. And again, I'm talking from experience. I have delayed growth in some areas of my life because I'm too busy ruminating on the fact that I made the mistake in the first place. And I can't move past the fact that I made the mistake, because I get hooked on thinking I am this mistake. Like, this is who I am. This is my identity. I am this stupid person who made this stupid decision. But that's not reality, right? That's another one of those lies that got in my head. That's a lie. I am a wise, intelligent person who sometimes makes decisions that actually don't work out the way I thought they would. And I'm also a wise, intelligent person who is capable of acknowledging that and making a plan to do better in the future. And y'all, I say this so many times, I love my 30s. Couldn't pay me to repeat my 20s. Okay, leave those back there. In my 30s, I'm talking about, I just turned 34. The growth has been phenomenal from 30 to 34. The growth I've seen in myself has been phenomenal. Just some exponential, and not that I didn't grow in my 20s, I did, but in this short window of these 4 years in my 30s, so much growth. Oh my goodness. This money thing, I'm gonna get it under control, y'all. I'm gonna get it under control. If you're out there struggling with managing your money, I want you to find a person that you see doing well with money. Talk to them, figure out what they did. Or if you're a book reader like me, read you a book, listen to a podcast. Like, I follow people on social media. I listen to podcasts while I drive. I have times where I want my music, and then I have times where I want to learn while I drive. I want to soak up some knowledge while I drive. I listen to my podcast. I love podcasts. And as you can see, I love to talk, and I love to listen to people talk when they've got something that interests me to say. I'm all ears. I want to hear you talk all day. And so there's so many tools out here to help us get better with money and with anything in general. But right now, today, I'm talking about money. You know, I'm reading Rachel Cruz's book. Before this, I had read Tiffany Alice. She's better known as the Budgetnista on all platforms. I read her book. Oh my goodness, I can't think of the name of the book, but it's a 10-step process. She talks about her 10-step process, financial wholeness. That's what it is. But yeah, and then I have a third book I'm gonna read after I finish Rachel Cruz's book. Couldn't tell you what the name of that book is, but it has something to do with feminism and money. So more on that another time. But you are not your mistakes. You can and will do better. Peace and love, y'all.